I swear I've done this video before, but I can't find it. So rather than, I mean, there's quite a few videos on the channel now, and rather than trawling through the 500 or so videos that are on there, I thought I'll just re-record it. And it's to do with a kind of state of mind that I think helps you. And it helps you, it might help you when you're running on the CX or just running as a courier in general, when things become insurmountable. You know, like you've got to get there, and suddenly you said you've co-loaded, but you're allowed to be co-loaded, but then the place you're co-loading has sort of held you up, and then you're on your way there, and then you've had a puncture, and you're like, and it can be a very, very stressful job. Or you've got there and the bridge is closed, or you realise your vehicle won't go under the bridge, and the sat-nav, you can't work out what it is. And you get these situations where your 4 or 5 things come on top of you, and that's why I've called this video One Step at a Time. And it's a story, and it's to do with it was to do with something to do like a terrorist crisis during the 1970s, during the 1980s. And I'm very vague about this story, so I'm just going to, you know, fill it in, kind of make a lot of it up, like, you know. And it was to do with the fact that there was a plane had been grounded at some airport somewhere, somewhere Middle Eastern airport somewhere, and the terrorists had civilians on this plane as kind of hostages. And so they sent in like the American Navy SEALs. But the thing is, it was an absolute car crash because they weren't geared up for the desert. They sent all these helicopters over. 2 of them didn't even make it. One of them, I think one of them grounded because something, you know, ran out of fuel or something like that. One of them, the sand got in the rotor blades and the thing crashed. It was just an absolute nightmare. And the story is about this one guy. He's one of these Navy SEAL people type guys, and he's asleep in one of the planes that's on the tarmac. And then suddenly, for some reason, I don't know why, this plane catches fire. So he wakes up, but he's disorientated because he's been asleep, and because the plane is, the fuselage is full of smoke, and he don't know where he's going, and he's looking around, there's no one else there, there's nobody else there. He's looking for a parachute, he can't find a parachute, he's totally, you know, he totally doesn't know, you know, he doesn't know what's going on. He thinks he's 30,000 feet up in the air on fire. So what he does is, without looking, he just opens the door, slings himself out of the plane at first. Of course, he thinks he's 30,000 feet up in the air. He goes, bosh, straight into the tarmac, sparko. So he wakes up about 2-3 days later in hospital. And his mate's sitting next to him. And he says, okay, well, what happened? So he recounts the story of how he was in the plane, how it was on fire, how he thought he was 30,000 feet up in the air, couldn't find a parachute, chucked himself out the door. And his mate says, hold on. He says, so you're telling me you thought you were 30,000 feet up in the air, and you, without a parachute, you threw yourself out of an aeroplane? And he turns around to his mate and he says, one problem at a time. And it stuck with me. So when you're in these situations, when you're late and you've got a puncture and you can't find your way, you go, right, one problem at a time. What's the first thing I can do? I'm going to ring the shipper. I'm going to tell them why I'm late. I'm going to tell them what's happened. They'll like it or they won't. Nothing I can do about it. Then I'm going to get that tyre changed. Then I'm going to find a way around that bridge. And this too shall pass. These things that you can hang on to is that problems and situations in your life that seem, and this goes for everything, things that seem absolutely insurmountable will go. So just try and compartmentalise it, break it down, one problem at a time. It's not really a courier driving video, but it kind of is. Might help. Might help you take care and take money.